14, present and approve the naming of the Bullard High Pool. Presentation by Public Information Officer Susan Badee and Bullard High School Principal Brian Beck. Welcome, both of you.
Good evening, Board President Asadorian, board members, and Superintendent Hansen. It's my pleasure tonight to bring the official naming of the Bullard High School pool. I will briefly outline the process as well as a recommended list of 6 names for your consideration. The Bullard High School pool had its official dedication September 2011. And I believe somebody jumped in that pool. Yes. In accordance with Board Policy 7310 and the Board of Education's core beliefs and commitments, a naming committee collaborated with students, parents, staff, and others, and is recommending a list of 6 potential names. 41 names were suggested after the district solicited input from the school and the broader community. Along with using our district website to solicit recommendations, other methods of outreach were also used, including teleparent, e-news, community newsletter, Facebook, and we even tweeted. It's now my pleasure to introduce Brian Beck.
We are tweeters. Good evening, board members, President Asadorian, Superintendent Hansen. As we got input or got the nominations at the district level, that then made it down to the site level for us to get input from our broader community, the Bullard High School community. And so we solicited input from our school staff, our student body, and from the Bullard community as a whole to have everybody take a survey on our own BHS website. And so I'd like to just share with you the 6 names that ended up being the finalist for this, and I'll give you a little information about each one, and then also share with you the survey results as they came out. So one of the recommended names is Mark Ruble, and a little bit about Mark Ruble. He was a Bullard High School student in the 70s, and now the late Mr. Ruble was an All-American and national championship swimmer. He returned to Bullard High as a teacher and coach. The girls' swim team won several Valley titles while he was coaching in the 90s. I also want to note that several variations of the Mark Ruble name were submitted as possibilities, and the family prefers that we consider the Mark Ruble Memorial Pool. And they've also given their consent that the pool be named after him. The Bullard High School Aquatic Center, I think, is self-explanatory. That just reflects the actual name of the school. And the Knights Aquatic Center reflects our mascot, obviously. Danny Robinson. Mr. Robinson coached swimming at Bullard High School in the 70s and 80s. He also served as an athletic director and administrator at BHS. His 1976 team earned the #1 national ranking, and several swimmers gained All-American status while he was coaching them. The boys swim team won several Valley titles while he was coaching as well. So that's Danny Robinson. Lori Provost. Ms. Provost was an excellent student at Bullard High School in the 70s, and she holds many records for swimming. She was an All-American swimmer while at BHS. Her senior year, she held the fastest time in the nation for the 50 freestyle, and she was the BHS Senior Girl Athlete of the Year during her senior year. And Tom Phillips. Mr. Phillips coached at Bullard High School in the 50s and 60s. He was the first swimming coach at BHS and took his team to Roosevelt High School to practice during the first 2 years before the pool was actually built on the Bullard High School campus. He also served as a counselor at Bullard High, and his team won several Valley titles while he was coaching. So when you look at the long history of aquatics at Bullard High School, it's a rich history, lots of championships, lots of people who contributed to the program. And so to have these names come forward, the 4 people and the 2 other names, I think is exemplary, and those that are being nominated are certainly deserving of that. So here's some results from our online survey. Mark Ruble and all the variations of that, there were 1,817 votes. And the Bullard High School Aquatic Center, 98 votes. Knights Aquatic Center, 64 votes. Danny Robinson, 74 votes. Lori Provost, 16 votes. And Tom Phillips, 19 votes. So you can take those numbers into consideration as we decide the naming of the pool. Also want to share with you where the votes came from. And we had folks, as they took the survey online, indicate what their affiliation was with Bullard High. And so you can see that we had 627 students, 470 community members, 174 parents, 99 staff members, and 614 others. So I'm proud that we had 99 of our staff members partake in the voting. That's a pretty good percentage of our overall staff there at Bullard High who wanted to be involved. And 627 students is pretty good too, that we have students that will take time to take an online survey for the naming of the pool. So we had lots of input into this, and those are the results as they stand right now. So Let me just also close my part of the presentation here in saying that we're very appreciative at Bullard High that we have the pool, and our students have certainly benefited from it, and many will for decades to come. And it's just a very, very nice addition to our campus, and it's been wonderful to have. So thank you for your support at the board level, the district administration, and especially our district facility staff who's brought this to fruition.
Thank you, Brian. At this time, we would like to entertain questions.
Thank you. I have some comments to make if I may get started. First of all, thank you, Mr. Beck. I also want to acknowledge Mr. Doug Finks, Bullard's athletic director, that is in the crowd. Thank you, Doug, for being here. Couple of comments. First, I'd like to start by saying that Mark Ruble was not only a classmate of mine, but I was honored to call him my friend, as we were part of the same circle of friends while we attended Bullard High School. As was mentioned, he graduated from Bullard High in the 70s, I'll say it was 1977, as an All-American swimmer who returned to his beloved alma mater after college to teach math and coach swimming. He inspired hundreds of students and student athletes to achieve their dreams. In 1998, he passed away unexpectedly at the age of 40, leaving behind a grieving wife and young daughter, Megan, as well as hundreds of his pupils and student athletes who regarded this man with utmost respect, loyalty, and admiration. In addition to the number of votes you saw in our board presentation, I also received a large packet of letters, actually I think dated of spring of last year, on behalf of Mr. Ruble, or Rubes, as they affectionately called him around the pool. Letters from as far away as London, recognizing a man many referred to as remarkable coach and life mentor. As I reread those letters today in preparation of tonight's vote, I was once again struck by the commonality in message by all those who composed letters and emails on behalf of Mark. One such letter spoke of Mark's legacy of discipline, leadership, hard work, and success that continues to live on in his swimmers, students, swimmers, peers, friends, and family. Many expressed the privilege to have been coached and taught by him. One letter written by Jamie Huss, Bullard High School class of 1977, summed it up by writing, "Mr. Ruble valued each of us in the pool and in the classroom equally. Whether you were an All-American swimmer or a fresh learner, he valued our work and triumphs with like-minded attention. I wasn't one of our star swimmers, but my experiences learning under Coach Ruble have shaped me in more ways than I can count. He taught me many important life lessons about hard work, integrity, and the power of the will." At this time, I would like to recognize Mrs. Patrice Ruble. Mrs. Ruble, if you would like to stand up, Mark's wife. And the contingency of people that she brought with her, and hopefully we'll have a chance to have them introduced as well. Patrice and Mark's daughter, Megan, unfortunately, I think I can speak on her behalf, could not be here today as she's a student at UC Irvine, and I had the honor to see her as well as other members of Mark's family at the pool and track dedication in September. I would also like to note, although she probably wouldn't want me to, that Patrice and Megan have continued to give back to Bullard since Mark's passing by awarding a scholarship each year at Bullard's Spring Sports Awards banquet to a student athlete who embodies Mark's qualities and attributes. So I know we will have other board comments, but I would like to make a motion to name the pool the Mark Ruble Memorial Pool, and once again say how honored that I am to have called Mark my friend.
I'd like to second it because I am too a 1977 graduate and knew Mark. So,
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any comments? Trustee Mills?
No, I was just waiting for the board member that represents the area to make a motion and a recommendation.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor? We do have somebody who wants to speak to this. Maybe before we take our vote, Suzette? Well, that's good. I think that speaks to Mark and who he was as an individual. So we'll take an official vote, and I would like to have an opportunity for each of you at least to come to the podium and be recognized and tell us your name. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Motion carried. The pool will now be known as the Mark Ruble Memorial Pool. I do think it bears mentioning that I did receive a call from, Lori Provost was a classmate a year ahead of me. I knew Lori. Dan Robinson was teacher extraordinaire. I call him my friend. I did get a call from Mr. Robinson, who said that he also wanted the pool to be named after Mark Ruble, so that speaks highly as well. So if you all come up and please introduce yourselves. We've gotten this, I think it's important. You guys have sat for a couple of hours. We appreciate you being here. Please stand up and at least tell us who you are. Yeah, please. Although you probably don't want to, but yeah, we don't want to let you off that easy.
We're married.
We are John and Suzette Senecal, and we came to represent our family. We have 3 daughters, and I don't know if I can talk anymore, but Janelle, Callie, and Julie, they wrote this for me to read. I didn't have to because everything you said is exactly, almost identical to what was on this paper, and I thank you.
Great. And I do know your daughter Kelly and I have been in constant contact from the moment
Correct.
she heard there was going to be a pool. And I think she was kind of the driving force behind the whole.
I think, well, what they said on here is in 2008, when they found out about the pool complex, they started working on it through phone calls, emails, and Facebook. And it did very well. Paid off.
Definitely. Thank you for being
very
here
much,
this
all of
evening.
you.
Thank you.
Michelle, on the exit back.
I'm Patrice Ruble. I'd like to thank the board. Michelle, that was beautiful what you said. Thank you. I want to thank everybody that is here, physically or in spirit. And I'm not very good at speaking off the cuff, plus I am very nervous right now. I think I just want to say 2 things. One is, if you knew Mark, this is the last thing he ever would have wanted.
That's for sure.
Even though he just completely deserves it, because I know what he put in, the effort that he put in to being a coach and a teacher. He never gave less than 100%, ever. And I also want to thank, because there is one swimmer here tonight, who's Mo. And I want to thank all the girls who looked up to him, who encouraged him to be his best, and that he in turn encouraged them to be their best. But the outpouring that I have received since losing him from especially these girls and his students, it's unbelievable that, I knew he was great, but I'm glad that his legacy will live on more than just in my daughter, myself, and our extended family. So thank you very much, and thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you all for being here this evening. Thank you very much. Okay, on to